welcome to the Never Seen It podcast, the only podcast called The Never Seen It that's worth listening to. And tonight we have Mr. Daily Dares, aka Filipino Grigio, aka Alex Callego with the Bon Me coming in hot. Mr. Donnie Appleseed, aka Donnie Guzman. And then we have Mr. Ghost Nerdy 88, aka Justin Holden. And there's me. Boots Too Big. I almost forgot my own damn user handle. Boots Too Big, aka Adrian De La Torre. And tonight we're discussing, and by the way, we're also streaming live right now. Nobody's watching, but that's okay. We're streaming anyway, just for the heck of it. We are discussing the 2012 film Chronicle.
Was it an accident, Andrew? Andrew?
Directed by Josh Trank. And you got it on the DVD. The DVD. Nice.
You got the DVD.
3 high school students make an incredible discovery, leading to their developing uncanny powers beyond their understanding. As they learn to control their abilities and use them to their advantage, their lives start to spin out of control, and their darker sides begin to take over. So, Justin, you chose this movie. Tell us, why did you choose this movie?
I chose this movie because in the heat of all the superhero stuff coming out, like Superman and Fantastic Four and things like that, I feel like most of these actors that were in these movies have been in superhero movies, like Michael B. Jordan, and even our main actor, which his name escapes me right now, but the main
Dane
actor,
DeHaan?
Yeah, he's in like other
Or Alex
superhero
Russell.
films and sci-fi adventures and things like that. So
Dane DeHaan,
I forgot his
yeah.
name too. Yeah,
He was in Incredible Spider-Man, or The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
mm-hmm.
What did he play in that?
The Goblin.
He was the Goblin.
He was the... Really?
Yes.
You know what? I didn't see Amazing Spider-Man 2 because I saw the first Amazing Spider-Man. I didn't really care for it, so...
You're like, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. Exactly. Okay, so he was... Wow, the Willem Dafoe character in that one? Did he pull it off? Did he do a good job? Nah, I want to hear about this.
I mean, it's definitely not as memorable of a role
As Willem Dafoe?
As Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe stole the show.
Somewhat
I'm
of a
sorry.
podcaster myself. No, go ahead. Sorry.
But yeah, no, I feel like The Chronicle is also one of those movies that, although it was relatively successful in the theater, it also seems like this one also fell under the radar for some people as well. And I think it's a really good movie that, at least, it's been a long time since I last watched it, and I thought it was like really good for its time during a point in time where, a lot of found footage movies were kind of like all the hype, and it was still kind of steamrolling Hollywood for a little bit. It was kind of a unique take on found footage style movies, so, a superhero take was definitely interesting. I never got a chance to see it in theaters. I don't know why. I felt like I would have went and saw this in 2012 especially. But I watched it on DVD. I don't remember like how I ended up watching it, but I did somehow, some way, and I fell in love with it. I was like, wow, this is actually a really neat movie with a, kind of a unique storyline. So that's pretty much my reason for choosing it. I feel like you guys would have got a little kick out of it.
Yeah, I have to say, I was thinking about this. This movie could come out now, and I actually think it would be a bigger success in 2025 than in 2012. Because, like you said, it's sort of a deconstruction of the superhero genre, and it's sort of done in a way that's very unique, very original, I think. And it would be refreshing in 2025. In a way, this movie was almost ahead of its time, because we sort of have gone through this phase of superhero fatigue in the last 10 years, basically. And now I think we're at a point where it's starting to creep back up, the popularity of superhero movies. I think Superman and even the Fantastic Four movie, which I have not seen, have sort of helped reinvigorate the genre in a way, right? So great choice all around, honestly. I really enjoyed it. I'd never seen it before. I remember seeing the trailer, and I remember thinking, this looks like an interesting movie. And for whatever reason, I didn't end up watching it. But I really enjoyed it. But I want to start with you guys. Who hasn't seen it here, by the way? So it was me, and who else hadn't seen it? Donnie. So let's start with you. So yeah, what did you think overall after watching it?
Yeah, I was actually really excited to see it because Justin actually mentioned it to me a few months ago. So perfect, like it was on my list to watch, and so I was glad to see that it was one of the movies that we were gonna talk about. But I liked it. I liked it was just different, like you had mentioned. I didn't even know who directed it. I was just looking it up. You had mentioned his name. Was it Josh Trank?
Yeah, it was Josh Trank.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So he also did Fantastic Four. I didn't know that in 2015.
Oh, that's right. Speaking of that, yeah, exactly. The
Well,
2015
which is why
version.
we have Michael B. Jordan in Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Who does he play in that one? Is he Johnny Fire or Johnny Storm or what's his name?
Johnny Fire.
Johnny Storm.
Fire. Yeah, I don't even know who he plays in that.
Barney Five.
Johnny
Fire.
Johnny Fire is a bootleg version.
So, from what I've read, not to get too much on a side tangent, but wasn't that movie made because Sony is required to make a fantastic movie every like 5 years or 10 years or 8 years or something to keep the IP rights or whatever?
Well, that's a requirement for like all the licensed out stuff for Marvel. Anything that's licensed from Marvel, like the X-Men, Spider-Man. That's why they're like with the Spider-Man movies, they have to churn out something.
Yeah.
Like, especially the Spider-Man mainstay, the actual Spider-Man with Peter Parker has to be churned out every so often.
I think it's every 10 years with Fantastic because it was 2005, the original. Well, not even the original. We're not even talking about the 90s version, but whatever.
Yeah.
2005, 2015 with the Michael B. Jordan, Josh Trank version, and 2025 with Senor Pedro Pascal, who everybody loves.
The rights have reverted back to Marvel because
That makes sense.
because Fox bought or Disney bought Fox. So
I don't even remember. Is the 2015? Is that the one with Jessica Alba? Is that the one?
No, that was a 2005
2015.
version.
Oh, okay. I don't think I
there
remember
were
the
two of
2015.
those. There were
Was
two.
there?
of them.
There was the Fantastic Four and then the Rise of the Silver Surfer with the same
Oh, that's
cast.
right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Right.
and then the
When
2015
did
was
the second
Miles
one come out?
Teller, Kate Mara, Michael B. Jordan, and Jamie Bell.
When did the second Fantastic Four come out with Jessica Alba?
I don't know. Let me look that up. But yeah, I mean they've been making them over and over for the last 10 years, and there was that weird version in the 90s.
Yeah, that one was like unreleased too. So
It was unreleased because they just had to make it just to keep the rights at that time. But you know, when we're talking about Chronicle, let's talk about Chronicle. As much as I would like to talk about Fantastic Four, I want to save the time to talk about Chronicle because I did really enjoy it. But Donnie, so you were talking. So what was your perception of it? Because I saw the trailer. I saw that it was like a found footage type thing. What was your perception before watching it? Like, what do you think you were getting yourself into with this one?
I knew a little bit of what it was about, but I wasn't sure what to expect. It was really weird to see Michael B. Jordan that young.
You should see him in The Wire.
Yeah, but it was awesome to. I thought the acting was really good in it, like for the cast being so young, right? I don't know. I liked it. I really, really liked it. I don't remember it. I don't remember ever seeing or hearing about it or even knowing that he was released in the theaters. This is literally the first time I've heard about it was when Justin had mentioned it to me after we saw. What was that movie we saw? The vampire movie?
The Sinners also featuring Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah. So we watched Sinners and we were talking about Michael B. Jordan and that's how the topic came up. And he's like, "Oh, have you seen him in Chronicles?" And I was like, "I've never even heard of that." But no, I really enjoyed it.
Michael B. Jordan is my favorite actor whose last name is Jordan.
Yeah.
You know, not as big a fan of the basketball player, Michael Jordan. I mean, Michael Jordan is obviously, he was
an
icon.
influential GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. Both
Michael
in
B.
his
Jordan
acting.
Fantastic Four. You could tell this kid was going to go on to good stuff. Like his acting in that show. And he was young, too. He was like 13, 14.
I think the time this was the first time I ever experienced Michael B. Jordan was in Chronicle, but the first time I actually took him very seriously as an actor was when Creed came around, and I was like, okay, yeah, this guy's gonna be going places. Yeah.
I liked him in the Black Panther movie. My only issue with that was that he was barely in it. Like, he was the main bad guy in that movie, but he wasn't in it as much as I would have liked. But he's like, I don't know, he has this, aura about him. Like when he's on screen, he has this like presence, you know. And he had it in this movie too, which was I was like so pleasantly surprised to see him. I was like, oh, okay, they made the right choice casting Michael B. Jordan for this movie.
He's not as typecasted as some actors are. He's pretty much played like you mentioned, Creed to Sinners. Like that's completely different characters.
Yeah, no, definitely. And he has this charm about him too, you know. Like he's gonna only continue to get bigger and bigger roles.
Yeah, for sure.
Like he'll be like his generation's Denzel or something. I bet. You know what I mean? Because Denzel is amazing. I could see him being like, you know, that level eventually. But yeah, to answer your question, Alex. So Rise of the Silver Surfer came out in 2007. So like 2 years after
the Josh Trank version came out.
Yeah.
When?
Well, Josh Trank didn't do another Fantastic Four.
That one.
No,
2015.
But that one.
Well, 2015. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So
okay.
2005,
so that was
2005,
like,
2007, and then 2000.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was like a 7-year period.
Yeah, and the thing, so we can talk about it a little bit because Josh Trank directed obviously this movie and that one, and he was kind of he was almost going to be like a rising star director, but there was a lot of controversy that happened around the making of Fantastic Four, and his career didn't really take off after that. But Chronicle is such an original movie. Like I'm kind of shocked that he didn't go on to bigger and better things because this movie was just, I don't know, it was so good. It was so fun, you know.
You saw the potential of like what he was trying to do with his directing style, and just looking at being. So I remember when this movie came out, and I remember the buzz surrounding it. They even took it to Comic-Con, and
wow,
I remember.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
It was being touted as the very first like sort of unique original superhero genre film that didn't rely on like a pre-existing IP. And that was like I do feel like this was Josh Trank's calling card to be able to get the gig to direct Fantastic Four, because it was shortly after he directed Fantastic Four. Now I do believe like this showcased this a lot of his potential, and for it being his first film, like it had huge potential. But I also feel like, as would a lot of these these grandiose visions for like IP that are given to like these young directors, I do feel like he fell in that trap of like wanting to go big and have his own vision because they gave him a lot of room to breathe and to try to create. But then I heard, I can't remember where I saw it, but I heard that like turned into more of a horror film than an actual superhero movie.
Yeah, so, I feel like there was some element to that at the very, very end of the movie, like the last 15.
Yeah, so the Fantastic Four like turned into more of a horror film, like from what I hear. But this was like definitely genuinely like a Chronicle felt a lot like a superhero film, but more in a humanized way. Like I think I read your review on Letterboxd, Adrian, and you had like kind of like talked about like one of the downfalls was like you wish they had like expanded on like exploration of his powers, and I do feel like they did explore it. I think they explored it a lot, in my opinion, but I think they also really delved into the humanizing situation of it all, and I think that's what he was trying to accomplish, because at that time, Marvel and DC, they were putting out these movies that were focusing on their superpowers, that were sort of focusing on their lore, but they didn't really. I think that was one of the big criticisms, is that they didn't focus on, especially like a character like Thor. They didn't really humanize him as much as they could have in the first two films, which they finally did with Ragnarok. You know, they humanized him a bit, and that a lot more actually, which was what they needed to going into like Endgame and Infinity War. You know, so
yeah, it's interesting you bring that up, because Thor came out 2011, Captain America, the first Avenger 2011, the Avengers 2012. So this came out the same year as the Avengers. So I find that interesting. I'm gonna look it up, but I'm wondering what like the box office numbers were.
Well, you know what? That's probably why it wasn't Like it probably came out the wrong time. It was probably overshadowed by it.
Yeah, possibly.
A little bit, but this movie, getting into the budget stuff, I believe they had like $12 million to work with to make this movie, and then they ended up making $126 million worldwide.
Wow. That's pretty good.
So it's pretty good for, a relatively unknown movie. And honestly, it seems like
by a relatively unknown director, mind you.
Yeah. And that just kind of goes to show that, like, they were trying to do something different, unique in the midst of all this stuff going on. I think they just barely caught that peak moment where they were able to get away just barely to make something like this and be successful with it as well. But, like, going back to what you guys were saying, like, you wish there was, like, an expanded thing. And I guess there were talks of there being a sequel. Unfortunately, they had from what I was reading, they had a lot of pushback from Fox, 20th Century Fox, and a lot of different writers tried to come onto the project, and then ultimately they just kind of canned the whole idea. And I think director Josh Trank didn't really want to do a sequel anyway, unless it was his way, pretty much my way or the highway type of deal.
Yeah, but he didn't have the kind of capital to make that kind of move, Like, he wasn't a Spielberg, he wasn't directors who are big, like Spielberg, Scorsese, Tarantino, who, mind you, like, those guys can do whatever. They're big swinging dicks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This guy only had, like, 1 or 2 movies under his belt, and he kind of shot himself in the foot. I would have just gone with it. Just make a sequel, man. Get that bag, make the movie, make it happen. Who knows, But it is what it is. But that is interesting. I was just reading about that. There was going to be almost was going to be a Chronicle 2. And the fire department said, we're not doing that because we have to go stop a fire right now. Can you guys hear that? Sorry.
I can hear it, yeah. I was wondering where it's coming from.
They're like, no, we want original IP now. Firefighters are the biggest cinephiles. Low key, we don't even realize that, I think. No, but seriously,
you're coming in for our backdraft episode.
Oh my god, yes. We should totally do that. Well, that's a shame, That's a shame because normally in the past when a movie is successful and the original director's like, no, I don't want to do it, the studio's like, well, fuck you, we're going to hire somebody else. And that's what they do, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Sometimes it's not even that situation, but like Alien was successful and then they like, we'll hire James Cameron to do Aliens. You know what I mean? Like, why didn't they just hire another director to do this one? I don't know.
Well, I wonder if like Josh Trank owns the rights to Chronicle. That might be the case. Because it's one of those things where like, yeah, they could have, hired a new writer, a new director, but if he owns the IP, which he probably did, I would venture to say that's probably another reason why they didn't try to force that,
Yeah. Well, according to Wikipedia, he'd conceived the idea in high school and spent the following years generating. Oh, well, okay, so this was his baby basically.
Mm-hmm.
And
kind of cool.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because if it wasn't his IP, then the studio could say, well, you're just a hired gun, so we'll just hire another gun to take on our IP. But that makes sense.
That's super admirable, Like if you think about it, like for him to write and direct and put out his first movie. Well, I was looking at his letterbox. There were a few it probably was small short films or something like that, or student films. But for him to be able to get the green light for something but then again, here's the thing. I feel like there was also this sort of pushback, like Justin was saying, he is catching the peak of Infinity War, Marvel Avengers Infinity War. They're so there's this start of well, we want to have original IP now. So that kind of might have made sense because I remember I was talking to somebody at Comic-Con and they were saying that I was telling them that at a time, during that era, studio execs were going into comic book stores and just every Wednesday buying all the new issues and trying to find new IP for them to turn into movies.
That's so interesting.
And
they were talent scouting, but doing it at the story level. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think it was when we were promoting one of our shows, like Justin. I think Justin, you were with us. Maybe we went to like that one shop. It was that really cool shop called Secret Store. Or it was
like Secret Lair or something like that.
Secret Lair, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was talking to the guy. He's like, yeah, the studio execs come in because they're like right near the studios, and they'll just go in there and buy up all the issues, number one issues or runs of like new IP that they've never heard of. And
you could also just like hire comic book writers to like come up with ideas and shit.
Exactly.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
So I was,
they're lazy. It's just lazy.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Donnie?
Yeah.
I was just reading about the director. I guess that whole thing with Fantastic Four really messed him up because he was planned to do a Star Wars project, and then he ended up getting blacklisted from a lot of projects after the whole Fantastic Four thing went.
That's the thing about Hollywood, man. Hollywood giveth, and Hollywood taketh away. Like
that was like really fast, dude. Right? Like super good with Chronicle, and then next movie flopped.
I think the last
you
movie
have to play
he
the
did.
game. Good.
Yeah, I think the last movie he did, I was reading on Letterboxd, was Capone.
Yeah,
and that was in 2020.
Which was I don't think that movie did very well, did it?
Yeah, it's the Letterboxd rating is a 2.3.
Oof.
I think that was like his attempt to come back, right? But
that's the Tom Hardy movie.
Probably.
Yeah, the Tom Hardy movie. Yeah.
Never saw it.
And how do you mess that, like Tom Hardy, Capone's, like how do you mess that up? It's Tom Hardy.
He probably
Cardellini.
That probably followed him, like the whole backlash from Fantastic Four. I bet you didn't get I don't know. I didn't
what a
watch
stacked cast, though, man. Tom Hardy, Linda Cardellini, Matt Dillon, Kevin MacLachlan. Like, how do you mess that up? Well, maybe you didn't mess it up.
It happens all the time.
Well, okay, I guess there were some issues with, I don't know, because it seems like some things came out. I'm not exactly sure of the timeline, so correct me if I'm wrong if you guys know better, but I guess Max Landis or someone, whatever, got into some trouble for, like, sexual assault charges and things like that. So there was a point in time where they got in hella trouble, so maybe, like, guilty by association, maybe?
It's possible. I mean, Max Landis, I don't want to get into it too much, but he did get into some hot water for certain behaviors, I guess. And it's interesting because I don't know if it's Max Landis or I don't know if isn't it his dad who's like a famous director? John Landis, isn't that that's his dad, I believe.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and I think so it's always interesting to me. I don't want to get on a fucking what do you call it? My high horse about this, but it's always like the people who have like the foot in the door because they're related to the right people who always like somehow end up screwing it up the most. And it's like you had your foot in the door and you still shat the bed. Excuse my French. So I don't know, man. It's a shame. It's a shame is what it is because they could have made great movies together after this, and now we'll never know. Yeah. Now we'll never know, unfortunately. But anyways, not to get too much into all that, but and I think that is his father. John Landis is Max Landis' father. And you guys know who John Landis is. I mean, he's done everything from, well, I'm saying it like I know, but I'm trying to look at Wikipedia right now. Animal House, the Kentucky Fried Movie, Blues Brothers. Holy shit, American Werewolf in London, Trading Places. I love that movie.
Isn't he also like the interviewer for George Lucas at the beginning of my Star Wars VHS?
I don't know. That's a very esoteric reference.
Because like at the beginning of like Star Wars: A New Hope, I believe he like comes on and talks a little bit about like Star Wars with George Lucas in like a pre-movie like video type of thing. Yeah, and then the movie starts playing, but that's only on like VHS copies.
Yeah, I love that you were able to bring that bit of information to the table because I never would have known that. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for that.
I wonder if you could find that on YouTube, if they have that video on YouTube.
I'll do some research with...
We'll have our research interns look into it. Okay, so what else? I really want... So, the other thing I wanted to talk about, I liked that, to borrow a term from wrestling, even though I don't watch wrestling, to borrow a term, I like that the main character, Andrew, turns heel in the end. Like, because this movie starts, like, they do what teenage boys would do if they had powers. They pull pranks, they fuck with people, they do amazing talent show. And then, but poor Andrew, he's constantly getting shit on him throughout this movie. His dad is abusive, his mom is dying, and then does die. And then, like, he gets bullied at school. Of course he was going to turn heel. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you give a kid like that powers, yeah, he's going to become the bad guy. What did you guys think about that? I thought that was such a good turn, just story-wise.
It's a typical superhero trope of, like, with great power comes great responsibility, right? It's basically a reverse Spider-Man, you know? So he basically gets all these powers.
That's a great point.
That's the interesting thing. They have, like, each of the characters.
It's like a goblin story.
He went full goblin mode?
Yeah. He went blah, blah, blah. That's what he did. No, so basically all three of the characters have that choice, right? They all make that choice. You know, you see what's his name, Matt, the cousin.
Matt played by Alex
He chooses
Russell.
to like he chooses to go like, I want us to be responsible. I like want to do the right thing. They even talk about how he used to want to be like, I don't know, like some protector, like policeman sort of type thing.
Yeah, he said he wanted to be like an altruist. He wanted like something along the lines of a cop. So he wanted to be a protector more than anything.
That was my favorite aspect about his character. He was a pseudo budding philosopher, you know?
Yeah. And then Michael B. Jordan's character was like this kid who was he just wanted like to enjoy these powers and utilize them for fun, but also like he didn't really have any bad intention. He was like the middle guy. He was in the middle ground, whereas like Matt was the altruist. And you could already see that like Andrew, is that his name? Andrew?
Yeah.
He was like already the seeds were planted on his I even used that term in my notes, heel turn.
Even from the very beginning of the movie, the seed is planted.
That's what I'm saying.
It's written well.
Even he was talking about like with Michael B. Jordan's character, like how they were similar in the sense that they have like deteriorating relationships with their parents, similar situations but different. You know?
Was that what Michael B. Jordan's character was saying in that scene in the car early on, that monologue? He was talking about his parent. Okay, that's what I was thinking about that.
So, and then like that whole thing. I saw that, and you know what was interesting to me was like the ending almost goes full on Akira. You know, Tetsuo
like
versus Kaneda.
I need to watch that movie now. I own it.
We're gonna have to watch it in this show.
Yeah, and like to touch on what Alex was saying. Well, if you look at like interviews and things like that, Josh Trank has mentioned that he's used Akira as a very heavy reference, and you can see it totally in this movie, big time. Adrian doesn't know what we're talking about, but Adrian, you need to watch that movie because it's probably one of the greatest of all time.
And that's the thing. I have it on disc. Remember those discs? I have it on disc, and I have yet to watch it. And I'm gonna watch it this weekend.
Let's do a show on that. Let's do an episode.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's do a show on every movie.
That's our
goal now. We're gonna watch every movie ever made.
Akira is the perfect like
we'll be
companion movie for Chronicle, I believe.
You know, okay. So I see what you're putting down.
Before we do our Akira show, we'll do the Arnold Scott Pilgrim show, and then we'll do like Akira.
Where is Arnold? Where'd he go?
He's on vacation.
Damn it, Arnold.
He's having a one-man party.
Hey, it all made sense in my brain. I keep laughing at that clip every time I rewatch it. What does it mean? Good stuff. But so I want to say really, talking about the movie, obviously that's what we're here for. What did you guys think about like the found footage angle? Was great. It's fine, like it worked. But I think if you took that aspect out of it, this movie could have just worked normally. Or do you guys think it would have changed the story somehow?
I think it would have worked.
I think it would have worked without it. But what do you guys think?
I personally like the way that it was done. I don't know. It felt more real. Obviously, with all the stuff that was going on, you knew that it was not real, but it felt like you were actually like just one of the boys like hanging out with them, and you're discovering the powers with them.
Okay,
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And the only reason I bring it up is because it felt like they were really trying to justify it in the end when they were fighting in the air and they had all the camera phones like floating around them. I was like, now you're finding reasons to have the camera angles. But sorry, Alex, go ahead.
Yeah. No. I think it worked all the way up until the end. Because like for me, like when you get to the ending, and he's in Tibet, and he's like,
yeah.
So somebody somewhere along the line. Yeah,
Dude,
somewhere along the line he had to have somebody.
Them.
Yeah, like I feel somewhere along the line somebody had to gather all this footage and piece it together
hours upon
as a
hours
movie.
of footage.
Yeah,
They should have shown how they got the footage,
really
right?
Sense. Yeah.
Well,
even then,
even then,
it was kind of like Adrian was saying, there's hours upon hours of footage that they would have to like sift through in order to piece this. And that's one thing that like really took me away from the like believing the. It was although it was at the very end, it worked until they did that.
I take it back though, because when you think about people on the internet, right? When you think about people, there are people that will dedicate hundreds of hours to something like that, because if someone's going to make a compilation on YouTube of like every time John Hamm says what in the show Mad Men, they're going to do a supercut of every second of footage of people with superpowers. So I take it back.
I guess.
I mean, they did a good job of building it with all the with the found footage style.
I would have liked to have seen more of Matt's girlfriend character, like filming stuff from her angle. And you could have justified it more just with her like being in peril and also filming and almost fucking dying. Which she almost does die when he were they in Seattle, by the way? Does he take him to the Space Needle?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're in Seattle.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that. I love that scene, by the way. That was so good. Like that felt super immersive when he's like flying him up to the roof of the Space Needle. Immersive than that dumb scene in that Final Destination movie that came out the other day. Oh my god. Were we talking about that on here?
I liked it. Anyway,
Yeah.
going back to like the whole POV.
You're not allowed to like things I don't like. Sorry.
Yeah. Fuck you, bitch. Anyway, no, going back to like the camera POVs and stuff. All right, like I'm gonna admit, like it's been a while since I watched this movie, and like even to this day, even from the first time I watched the movie, the scene where he's at the Space Needle and he's flying and he's like, well, instead of like throwing all of you off of the 100th floor of this place, I'm going to steal all your phones and recording devices and put them around me. Yeah, like I'm some fucking influencer. I thought that was corny.
Hack your socials.
I'm not going to lie. That was corny for me. Even back then it was corny. So I was saying,
but
like,
what does it tell you that's the only, to me, is the only bad thing about this movie?
Yeah.
That's it.
I think it could have gone bad, like the way they shot that stuff.
Yeah.
As old as it was, it wasn't as corny as I expected it to.
Yeah. Well, there are points in time where the film definitely feels like it's like about to crest that like cringe portion, but then it redeems itself and it saves itself with like really cool shit that happens afterwards.
Yeah. I agree with Justin. Like there's the parts that like that really felt cringe, like almost cringe. Like a lot of the build up, right? It seems so stereotypical teenage drama film, right? Like you have the stereotypical outsider kid in Andrew. You have the kind of like cool kid Jock, right? And then you have the like the popular kid who's like gonna be like valedictorian kid, right? And they somehow all, because they're all in this like traumatic experience together, they bond, and that just feels so like tropey to me, like
it definitely is.
Teenage.
It was predictable, even though as different as it was. I would say it was still predictable.
Yeah. I mean, you can rehash those sorts of tropes and archetypes and still tell an original story, which is what I think this movie did. But I have to ask you guys, because I've been. Oh, go ahead.
But like I was saying that, like with what Justin says, it somehow is able to escape that sort of like even though it feels like it's gonna go cringe, they're able to redeem itself by like actually telling a good story. Like you're
Right.
willing to forgive. It's like that. It's that kind of version of like suspending your disbelief, right? And like it almost pushes you to like disbelieving it, but then they're able to reel you into like this sort of like, okay, disbelieve, like, okay, I could disbelieve it for now. You know?
Right. One thing I wanted to really talk about, I saved myself from searching this because I wanted to discuss it with you guys. What are your theories on the mysterious alien object thing, if it even is alien, that gives them their powers? What are the leading theories on that? I really have to know. Justin, you're shaking your head. I feel like you already probably have read about this at some point,
No,
right?
I have not read anything about it because I kind of wanted to discuss it too.
Well, good.
Honestly, I feel like it draws inspiration from like Superman, obviously,
Like a kryptonite type deal.
but it's weird because if you really pay attention to like what was happening in that moment, it's like it had these like little strands of like blood vessel type veiny things that were actually moving. Like they got close to it and it started like moving, like pulling back to reveal more of the crystal, and then they all ended up developing telekinesis after that. So I feel like it is more or less like a meteorite or something that like hit the earth, and it was this alien crystal type of thing which gave them the powers that they had. However, it was something that obviously was being covered up by like government in some shape or form.
I appreciate that they didn't explain it though.
Yeah.
I appreciate that they left it to your imagination on what it could be. I appreciate that they didn't go the ET route where the government has to get involved and now you're on bikes running away from government officials with walkie-talkies that are later turned into rifles, or rifles turned into walkie-talkies, but that's a whole other thing. They did that, by the way. The ET movie, they replaced the rifles with walkie-talkies. Did you guys know about that? Is that widely known?
Yeah.
I can't believe they did that. Like, it was 1982. Like, cops are going to have guns. Oh, no, cops with guns. But anyway, I digress.
Kids movie, god damn it.
Yeah, we can't have kids seeing guns on the screen from a very old movie that they'll probably never even seen, because kids these days don't watch movies. They watch Mr. Beast.
Were they holding the walkie-talkies like this? talking into them?
Come in.
Breaker.
Hey, every kid should watch that movie though. My son loved it.
Yeah,
I want to
absolutely.
rewatch ET again.
Yeah.
What was it? I was going to say, like, how do you, cause I know the posing the question was for everybody, but I also wanted to double up on that and say, what do you guys think about, like, not only like that crystal thing, but what do you guys think about when they revisit it and then they're like, yeah, I can still kind of feel it. Like, I could still feel it under us.
I like that they had this sort of grounded aspect of they could feel each other and using their powers and the nosebleed and all that. They didn't explain it, they just showed it. And as a viewer, you're like, oh, that's because of their powers, that's because of this mysterious alien object. There's a certain connection. There's like a sub-atomic quantum loop connection that they have with this, whatever it is that gave them their powers. But they didn't, again, I appreciate that they didn't explain it.
Yeah.
I thought that aspect was really cool because they were connected still,
I like that. I kind of feel like it's the early precursor to a lot of how like current day superhero movies are like, well, we don't have to. It's kind of unnecessary to do the origin story, right?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because like a lot, that's what they did with Fantastic Four. In Fantastic Four, they didn't really retell they slightly touched on it, but there was never really like this like heavy-handed where almost the whole movie was about like the origin. Same thing with Superman. You kind of expect that to happen, but they never do. It just goes like throws you right into the action of you, because like it's these things. That's the thing. It's like trusting the viewer to understand that the origin is not necessary to understand telling a good story. Like, you could give them bits and pieces that like fill in the details, but only because they help fill in the details. Like, I don't care that they got superpowers. That's all that matters to me. You know, that's all that matters to the story. Like, it's cool.
They save room for
if
interpretation, right? It's like, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it helps the viewer like be able to expand the world on their own. And I think that's much more, there's much more value to that than to like tell the story for like 45 minutes of like what happens and all that sort of stuff.
And they didn't do the other thing that origin stories will often do, where it's like them making the suit and the cape and the cowl and suiting up and booting up and going on to the world in their new form. Like, no, they didn't do that. They stayed as
that
teenagers.
with Batman, the Christopher Nolan stuff, and I thought that was kind of unnecessary. Really, I know what Batman's about.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to retell it again.
With superpowers, they still remained teenagers and they still had teenager problems. His dad kept beating him up. Obviously, he fought back this time, and it was very satisfying, by the way, to see him kick his dad's ass. But he still has that, and his mom was still a problem with her death, with her dying, and then eventually actually dying. Sorry, Justin, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say Andrew ends up having a suit of some sort, and it's the hospital gown, which is also like another resemblance of Akira as well.
Hold on.
That
His
firefighter.
first suit was actually the fireman's suit.
It was the firefighter suit. You're right, but he was only using that as a cover for robbery. I don't think that was necessarily his.
When he did that, I was like, "What the heck is he doing?" Dude?
Yeah.
I mean, I get that, but I do feel like that's in a way his first time suiting up, because he's trying to hide his identity, and that's kind of like the whole thing with like superhero costumes, right? They are trying to protect their identity from people knowing who they really are. Unfortunately, when he goes to try to mug those guys that are like, they understand that it's like, hold on, is that Andrew? No,
with his broke-ass backpack,
and he's wearing his backpack still.
Yeah, fun of his backpack.
Exactly.
Hey, so was it just me, or do you guys see a lot of like parallels with like Stranger Things? Going back to that thing that they found. The bleeding nose, find a weird object. I don't know. For me, it reminded me a lot of Stranger Things.
I could see that. Obviously,
I could see
the
that.
kids in Stranger Things are a lot younger in the first season. Now they're like full-grown adults, but there's definitely
in their
parallels
40s
there.
now.
Yeah. Wait, didn't Stranger Things come out in 2014, the first season? Or am I crazy?
Yes.
I don't know how old it was.
Well, the show
is.
Yeah. Maybe it was more recent, but yeah, I could see them taking inspiration from this movie. I could see this movie's inspiration from other things too, mind you. Like, not just, obviously I haven't seen Akira, but like, they, like you said, the whole mysterious alien cave thing, that was very reminiscent of like the Fortress of Solitude and Superman and stuff.
And here's the thing, though. Like, I think, like, we talked a lot in the world of cinema. There's a lot of conversation about superhero fatigue, right? But I don't think it's really superhero fatigue per se. It's superhero cinema fatigue, right?
Yeah.
And it's not even their fault. That genre's fault. It's more so like people just writing bad movies. You know, they're not writing great movies, and that's why everybody's getting tired of it. Overall, superhero fatigue doesn't exist. It's superheroes are a story. They're a mythology similar to like the Roman and the Greek gods. You know, like just like the Bible. You know, there's these characters that with like these superpowers doing amazing things, right? And they have their trials and their tribulations, but it's just like Superman is like the modern day like Zeus, you know. Yeah, that's all it is. And so like we can't get I'm not tired of superheroes. I'm tired of bad movies being made
I was just gonna say
out of these characters.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I agree 100%. I think it's great that this movie superheroes, I can't talk tonight. Superhero movies kind of prove that, like how your analogy with the Roman and Greek gods, it kind of, and biblical stuff, proves that storytelling is like very inherent in like every society throughout the whole world. Like you could go back 1,000, 2,000 years, and anyone and any part of the planet was telling stories, you know? And I think that's, I don't know, there's something cool about that to me, I guess, just as a writer, as a person who consumes stories. And the other thing that I think this movie proved, by the way, was that found footage doesn't just work with the horror genre. It could work in almost any genre. It worked in this genre. Because you see it a lot, mostly in the horror genre. And now, but this wasn't really a horror movie, so it proves that it works in other genres as well. So I thought that aspect was pretty cool. And by the way, this movie was received really well when it came out. I mean, even Roger Ebert, who hated everything, gave it 3.5 out of 4 stars. Like, at Rotten Tomatoes, it sits at around 85%. Like, that's great. They did something right with this movie. And it's a shame that we didn't get a sequel. You know what I mean? What can you do? So, yeah, I think we're about that time. Fellas, if we want to go around the room and get our final thoughts and social medias and anything else you guys are working on. Justin, why don't I start with you, unless you had more to say, but let's go to you first.
I'll just, wrap up my final thoughts in my review here. I love Chronicle. I'm glad that I discovered it when I did. I thought it was a good movie back then, and I still think it's a really good movie now. Even more so, I appreciate it now more than I think I did back then, when I just thought, oh, it was a really good movie. Diving into it and analyzing it just a little bit more, doing a little reading on it, and just kind of like figuring out the lore behind Chronicle really made me appreciate this movie a little bit more than I did. This movie definitely has its flaws. There are some moments that are, just kind of borderline cringe, where I'm like, okay. But at the same time, I have to stop and realize it's like, obviously this was written about teenagers in high school. Teenagers in high school are cringe. I was very, very cringe at that time. So, I think they were just trying to capture that, what would happen if high school students, inherited superpowers, and what would they do with it, and it's true. I mean, what would a immature high school student do with superpowers? Just fuck around. With their powers, that's totally what I would do. And I also understand like the whole villain side of the movie as well. It's like this kid was just in a bad situation from the very start, and it laid the path of where he ended up, which is completely going on a city destroying spree and just eliminating anything and everything around him out of spite and anger. And it's a typical villain story with a little bit of a twist. And moving into some of the CG stuff, surprisingly enough, because I saw some behind the scenes of this movie, and there were a lot of like practical effects used, but there was definitely a lot of green screen, and you can see that it was a lot of green screen. I feel like even for its time, and it's an older movie, but I would say even in 2012, the green screen scenes could have been a little bit better. They seemed a little floaty. Sometimes the perspectives seemed a little bit off, especially that scene with Andrew and Steven on top of that building just hanging out. The perspectives of the green screen scenery in the background versus the practical effects of the scene in the foreground just seemed a little bit off all the time, especially the scenes of them flying. And I, can suspend my beliefs for a little bit and just go along with it. But they're definitely noticeable. The movie is definitely has a noticeable age to it now. And I also wanted to go back to the whole camera thing about I feel like the camera itself was a character. It became a character, and we like you guys said earlier, the audience is that character, but we are technically Andrew's kind of thing going on, if that makes any sense.
We're like his personal captive audience through that camera lens.
Yeah. Literally, we're captive. He won't let go. He won't let go of that camera at all costs. So it's developed itself as a character, or as like a thing that he must have for the entire duration of the movie up until the very end. Yeah, I could absolutely do without the Tibet scene, honestly. If they
I like the Tibet scene.
if they dropped it completely, I would have been fine. It would have made no difference. They would have got the point across. I honestly would have rather preferred, like, oh, yeah, the government found this fucking. But I mean, every found footage movie has like, oh, this footage was obtained. Blah blah blah. There's no happy ending. At least Matt had a happy ending. I'm happy for him, at least. Out of everybody, but
Rip Steve.
Yeah, which that was a weird scene too. I thought that he kind of just he got Thanos out of the movie almost immediately in that scene. I'm like, okay, he didn't really have much more after that, I guess. They just like, well, he's dead now. He got hit by lightning, but we never got to see it. I was disappointed in that part as well.
It was like Back to the Future 3. You're gonna get struck by lightning. Gone, baby, gone. Poor Steve.
Other than that, yeah, wonderful movie. I think anybody who's never seen it before should definitely pick it up, rent it. It's on HBO Max. They have both versions on there. Or not, is it on HBO Max? Yeah. It's on HBO Max. And it's on Disney Plus, which is cool too. Because it's a Fox property. Anyway. Yeah, so
I have a question for you, Justin, real quick.
Yeah.
Do you know the difference between the director's cut and the regular version?
I have no.
Okay.
I looked into this.
Because I watched the director's cut, and that was the version I watched.
It was like an extra 5 minutes that developed the characters a little bit more, but I mean, 5 minutes is not that much. So, and
I think it was. It seems like one of those pushes to like come out with another movie to sell. I think that's what that was. I was like, yeah, okay, you get an extra 5 minutes, but that extra 5 minutes
the Trank cut
doesn't give anything extra. Yeah, right. It was the Trank cut, but no, I don't think it really there was any real difference to that. But yeah, so my final score, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. I love this movie. It may not have aged well, but it's still a good movie, and I don't care what any of you say. Fuck you. Anyway, you can find me, Ghost Nerd, on the socials. If you click the links in my bios of that, you can follow me on everything else, including my Shibs Zombie personal page, but we'll stick to Ghost Nerd 88 for the rest of my life. Anyway, thank you. That's me.
The rest of your life. I'll be here all day. I was gonna say really quick. Matt was gonna edit all the footage together, but he couldn't pay for the Adobe subscription. It was too expensive. $40 a month for Premiere Pro. Are you kidding me? So somebody else had to edit this movie.
It's $69.99 now.
$69.99. You're crazy, Adobe. Go home, Adobe. You're drunk. What are you doing? No one's gonna pay $70 to edit.
Give us our fucking full suites back, you bitch.
Yeah, no, just guys, for those of you three that are listening maybe and are editors, just get DaVinci Resolve. That's all you need, I promise you. Anyway, not to get too much into the weeds about that, but Donnie, tell us your final thoughts and where can people find you?
Yeah, I didn't do much research about the movie even after I watched it. Honestly, I didn't have the time. But I appreciated that it was found footage and it wasn't a horror, which you had mentioned, right? There's not that many found footage non-horror films that are pretty good. Project X is probably the only one I could think of off the top of my head that did pretty well, or I thought was pretty good, where you're seeing it from like the partygoers, like a partygoer angle, right? If I remember correctly.
The first Cloverfield was found footage.
Yeah,
that was more of an alien.
That was
horror.
That was horror. No,
I guess
Project
horror,
X was
right?
really good. That was that wasn't found footage. That was just like a friend had a camera and he was just recording this insane house party, and that was a really good movie too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'd like to see more. I mean, there's not that many, right? But I'd like to see more found footage. I thought it worked well. It was there was definitely some corny parts. I think for me, a little heavy on the CGI, but how else would you do a movie like that, right? During this time, like they had to definitely rely on that. But I think overall it was still a good movie. It was nice to see. It was cool to see some of those actors, like Michael B. Jordan, so young, and still do a good job, right? I don't know. Overall, I liked it. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. And definitely recommend people to check it out if you haven't. Yeah. What else? You can find me on social media _Donnie Appleseed. If you want to check out some of my photography, I'm on Instagram, 125 Photography, just all one word.
Nice.
That's it for me.
All right, Donnie. Thank you for that. Alex, final thoughts, and where can people find you?
Y'all could find me at Daily Dares on Instagram, and go to the link there and find all the other things that I'm involved with, including Collectible Galaxy on Depop. And for as far as my review goes, I do feel that this movie is very much a cautionary tale for like we do get into the weeds a little bit earlier in the show about how it's kind of tropey, these teenage tropey things. But I feel like the character Andrew, it's like he has this his journey. It takes this like sort of it climbs to this sort of like this place where he's like, okay, I'm getting somewhere where I'm like being respected, but it doesn't come. It comes at the cost of who he really is, not for the things that he is actually doing. Like his videography stuff could have been the thing that actually made him who he was, but he stumbles upon this sort of like superpower and relies on something that like is like not really of his own, to be honest. It's like it's kind of that idea of like when people like gravitate to you because of things they like that aren't really yours, that's disingenuine, you know? And that can really lead to some like really harsh identity issues. And when that facade falls away and you're left with who you really are, and you don't acknowledge that whole thing to like actually like work on that part of yourself, that's when it becomes destructive. And you kind of see that with his character, because he accidentally kills his friend, and then he like he could have saved his mom, but like he went off and tried to get money to like buy the medication. Like he could have been there to like give her the help she needed, but instead of doing that,
he should have just snuck in there, taking the medication and bounce, bro. What are you doing?
Yeah, he could have just lifted it. I don't understand why he didn't just use his telekinesis
to do that.
Yeah, that's what I thought he was going to do. But it's that's once again he's trying to rely on. He's very, that whole situation becomes a very confusing situation. He doesn't know when to use his powers, his gifts. And then he uses them at the wrong times by killing people, left and right, And that's that whole cautionary tale that I'm talking about. It's like you have to, for the things you do, it has to come from a genuine place, from an authentic place. And that will kind of like, even though it may make you look cringe, and I think that the whole idea of cringe is such a stupid thing to like we get all hung up on that sort of thing.
Everything's cringe nowadays.
Yeah, like we're cringe. So what? I'm realizing
cringe.
now. I'm really realizing at my age, who cares? Who cares?
85-year-old can walk into a post office and yell racist slurs at the person behind the counter. You can be cringe in your 40s, guys.
Yeah, exactly. And who cares if you like, because like, so a lot of cringe stuff that we do, it will be forgotten and it will be inconsequential because all those people,
especially by teenagers, they're not going to remember any of this shit. They're going to look back when they were teenagers and be like, I was cringe.
Exactly.
I was the dummy.
But and here's the thing, it like what I've noticed too, it's like the idea of cringe, it like stops people from doing the things they want to do.
Yes.
It really does. It limits
that part.
The idea of cringe. They get so afraid of being cringe, that like they stopped, and I think that's like, you know, you look at Andrew, he's afraid, and he uses
be
his
himself.
powers that he's that's not him being himself. He was like on that talent show thing. He was using these powers to be like, hey, look at me, I'm cool. Look at me. But it never really.
I do love that nobody questioned them breaking the laws of physics in that scene, by the way. But anyway,
I mean,
And the talent show.
yeah,
yeah, I mean,
Well, you know what?
magicians, they don't have to reveal their secrets.
Exactly.
that's true.
You know,
I think that was part of the reason like the movie worked well though too. It's like they really thought about like what would a teenager, I think Justin mentioned it earlier, like how would a teenager approach this, or what do they think, and like their definition of cringe is so much bigger to them versus like someone our
absolutely,
age, right?
Absolutely.
it's like the
absolutely
the biggest thing in the world. Yeah.
So like that's the whole thing of judgment, like fear of judgment from other people, but also judging ourselves for being cringe, right? That's kind of like the thing that stops us, and that's the story. That's the lesson I got from this movie. It's like if you're genuinely accepting of yourself, like, not that I won't say you won't have those issues, but you'll be more aware of like the choices you want to make. And you know, like you look at the character Matt, he like, they kind of made him feel bad for wanting to be an altruist, right? At the diner. But
God forbid a guy
still,
have
like,
hobbies.
Yeah, but he stayed true to himself, right? He stayed true to himself, that what he wanted to do with his powers, and that at the end of the day saved like everybody from even more harm that Andrew was going to cause.
Yeah, he was quoting Albert Camus at 18 years old. No teenager does that. Like, bro, let him cook. You know what I mean?
I knew a couple.
This
I knew
movie,
a couple
for
people
me,
who
was like it kind of got like, it just made me think like if I was in that kid's shoes, I probably would have done the same thing. Very much like when I watched Hostel, and I was like, man, I totally would have died if I was if that was me. Like that would have been me.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
I mean,
same.
yeah, exactly. When we're kids, we're making the worst choices, but that's how we are as kids, right? That's
how you learn.
As we get older, we shouldn't like judge ourselves for those choices. We should learn to like accept those things and love ourselves for those things as embarrassing as they are. You know, as they were.
I like that you say that, Alex, because it shows growth on your part. A lot of people don't fucking grow up. I've met people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and they're still little immature assholes. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
You know, I'm serious. Like, what is wrong? Like, why are a lot of the older generation? Why do they still act like fucking children?
Well,
I don't get
it's
it.
because they're embarrassed of the judgment that they might receive if they are actually themselves, if they're actually authentically accepting and loving of themselves. You know, like
for those that I know that are like that, I feel like they're stuck in that.
Arrested Development, is that not what that's called? Kind of.
Yeah.
Literally, Arrested Development.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, I really enjoyed this movie. I honestly didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did. And like, whoa, there goes the Wizard of Oz, the reveal behind the curtain. Where's that?
You lost your background, champ. I was like, what happened?
Fuck it, we ball.
Who's that naked guy back there?
That's my dad.
Oh, okay. He's come to beat you up.
He's come, all right.
Oh no. Anyways, 3.5 out of 5 for me.
Awesome. Well, no, thank you, Alex, for that. I agree with everything you said. I wish, and Donnie, I don't know if you have this with your son, but I wish that like I could tell him now, like, don't worry about what other people think about you.
No,
Fuck 'em.
yeah.
Fuck them.
I've had conversations like that or similar to that, but then I think about why he's not getting it, because he just doesn't get it. You know, when you're young and your parents try to tell you something, you just got to live through experience before you understand what they're trying to tell you years down the line. Like now I'm like, oh yeah, that's why my parents did that. Okay, I get it.
Well, it's that whole thing that like they like kids, we when we were kids, we valued our peers' opinion. And that's the tough thing for them to acknowledge and accept that like their opinion doesn't matter, you know?
Yeah.
Like the only opinion that matters, it's not even our parents' opinion. Like their opinion of us shouldn't matter either. Like it's like the only opinion that should matter is our own opinion about ourselves.
Yeah, it's hard to teach that to kids, but yeah, definitely if there's a way to keep, pounding that in their head, and they'll eventually get it a lot younger than me, hopefully.
Mr. Rogers, man, Mr. Rogers had it right.
Yeah, and on the other hand, like, kids do need to face some amount of adversity throughout their lives.
For sure, yeah, definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
Like, you can't keep them in a bubble 100%. Like, you just can't. You have to let them...
fucks them up for Bill's parents that helicopter over to kids like that.
Oh, God, yeah.
That will fuck your kids up.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously...
But I think it's important, though, too, like, when it comes to, like, not helicoptering over your kids, but also just constantly reminding them of whose opinion matters.
Their self-worth.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely important. Which a lot of parents don't do, by the way.
Yeah. And it shows.
Yeah, they do the opposite, and they they think they're helping you, but later down the line,
Yeah, that's a great point. Well, but thank you, Alex.
How did this turn into this?
I mean, it's a movie about teenagers. If I had powers as a teenager, even as an adult, I would probably be sneaking into all the good restaurants in town and just like fucking stealing food. all the best plates. I just like run into every restaurant and just, you know what I mean? That's what I would be doing. And, maybe a little, I don't know, maybe a couple bank robberies here and there. Who knows? We'll see. In this economy, modern powers require modern solutions. Right? So anyway,
I love heist movies, by the way. Like Italian Job.
Oh yeah, I love
even Gone in 60 Seconds got me all hyped.
Ocean's 11.
I'm gonna steal some cars.
Yeah. The first Now You See Me was a good heist movie, even though it wasn't really a heist movie.
Wait, which one?
Now You See Me. Did you guys?
Now You See Me. Oh yeah.
Is that the
Tom
Hanks?
Yeah, speaking of magic, the magician with Jesse Eisenberg and can't remember who else.
Isn't there a new one, or is that the new one?
There's like 3 new ones. There's like well, there is a new one now, yes. And it's like the third or fourth. I saw the preview.
Yeah. But those, you're right. Those were pretty good. Those were good.
Yeah, and on the note of found footage and horror, Paranormal Activity, those movies, I thought those were great. By the way, they got a little dumb towards the end, as most horror movies tend to do. But they were still fun to watch. And the first one was
respect to like Blair Witch, right? They're like ultimate. The way they did that, I remember in high school thinking that shit was real. Until after I watched it, that was really the marketing team behind that was fucking amazing.
I love the marketing. That pulled me in. Like when I first saw that.
The first one thinking that shit was real.
The first one cost like less than $1 million to make, and it made millions of dollars. And
that was so good. It was so good. Even the commercials was just like like footage just staticking in and out. It was really good. I loved it.
And then they dived off the deep end and
Blair
Witch 2: The Book of Shadows.
Don't get me started with Blair Witch 2.
I never even visited those.
I can't do it tonight.
After that,
it's a whole different movie, man. It's a different movie. That's it. It's not.
Is it even found footage at that point?
It's not. No,
I didn't think so. I didn't think so. That sucks.
Didn't they make a new one recently?
Yes, and I actually enjoyed it. They did. They kind of
good?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't a reboot or anything. It was kind of like a continuation on with the found footage style stuff. But I actually enjoyed it. They also made a video game too.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What's it called? I'll have to look that up after the show.
It's called Blair Witch. I think that's it. Yeah, literally.
Blair Witch Trace.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
I remember now at Comic-Con, like right after the first the first Comic-Con when they started having them, there was this project that they're like, oh, it's kind of supposed to be like this scary movie thingy, and then they revealed it to be the Blair Witch, which I thought was kind of another genius marketing thing that they did, like. So it's kind of like cool that like the Blair Witch has this legacy of like genius marketing.
The thing that people who are under the age of 30 don't understand is that when that movie came out, there was nothing else like it. The marketing for that movie, the virality of the marketing, the movie itself, the way it was presented. You can't do that nowadays in the age of the internet. Back then, it was like the perfect time to do that sort of viral marketing that made it blow up, you know?
Revolutionized, like the way...
Yeah, it spawned the found footage genre, I think.
I looked it up real quick. 5,000 budget. And then 250 million box office.
For Blair Witch?
That is wild, yeah.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow. That's great. But you know what sucks is that those actors couldn't get work after that, unfortunately. They were softly blacklisted because they couldn't be taken seriously as actors. Because, that movie did as far as like seeming so fucking real and authentic. Even though it was just a movie.
I think they had a panel for the Blair Witch Project, like the anniversary at Fantastic Fest a few years ago.
Really? Nice.
And they had the actors from that film, the original film, and they kind of talk about their trials with the industry and how difficult
and
it was
they went through
for
some
them.
Shit to make that movie, mind you. It wasn't an easy cakewalk for them. They were actually out there in the woods, practically starving, living in tents, and getting fucked around with by the directors and stuff because they were trying to make it as real as possible.
Which is such bullshit. Like, if you think about it, like, those guys put in so much hard work and they were acting in those films. Why? Come on. Why give them so much shit and not give
method
them
actors could do what they did. Christian Bale, Daniel Day-Lewis, they couldn't do that. They wouldn't do that.
It's a different type of acting.
Anyway, all right, guys. Well, my quick final thoughts. I'm gonna read what I wrote for Letterboxd, but I also want to say just a couple of favorite moments from the movie. I love the magic act scene, and I love the scene where they were up in the clouds for the first time. And I was waiting for a fucking plane to zip through and almost kill them, and it happened, and I was so satisfied, even though I saw it coming. That was such a great moment. I love that moment so much. But yeah, so what I wanted to say that I wrote on Letterboxd was, what a fun but also sad movie. I enjoyed the fun and games part where the three main characters, just teenage boys doing exactly what goofy tomfoolery you'd expect once they got their powers. Pranking people and messing around. Andrew Smith gets a short-lived break. Matt plays the pseudo-philosopher. And Steve's just the fun, charming guy in the group. However, things then take a particularly dark turn. Andrew puts his abusive dad in the hospital, spirals into a full-on rampage through the city while Matt tries to stop him. I do wish that they'd explored their powers more, and honestly, the whole found footage angle didn't add much for me, but the conflict between the three friends could have been built up more too. Overall, it was a fun, yet tragic story that felt fresh and original. In a superhero-saturated landscape, this one stands out, and I gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd. So yeah, guys, 4 stars on Letterboxd. So that's how much I enjoyed it. And by the way, you can find me on Letterboxd at Boots Too Big. You can find the show on all the socials. We're everywhere, guys. We're on X. We're on Blue Sky. We're on Threads. We're on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We're doing it all, baby. And you know what else? By the way, we should start inviting more people to our Discord link. Let's get people in there. I'm going to start sharing that link in our show notes. We have a Discord.
I'm going to clear it out first.
Yeah, what's that?
I'm going to clear it out first.
Well, the general chat is fine. That won't get us landed in prison anytime soon. But no, yeah, follow.
Hold on, we're not posting anything that would land us in prison. Come on.
No, not in the open chat. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, but
not in any chat. Come on.
In any chat, yeah. There's no other chats to be found. But yeah, Discord, get in there, guys. Talk to us, yap with us. It doesn't have to be about movies. We'll talk about anything for days. We all have various interests that we can chat about. But yeah, follow us on those platforms. Visit us at neverseenitpodcast.com. Email us podcast.neverseenit@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts from. And if you like the show, please help us out by sharing it, commenting it, leaving us a review. Big thanks to Mr. Kyle Mapson of Burn Cycle for our intro music. You can follow Kyle on Instagram at selfies_food_and_pets. Thanks, Julie. Oh, we didn't get the snooze-o-meter. Damn it, Arnold. We needed the snooze-o-meter tonight. Whatever, it's fine. But yeah, so if you didn't get that, does anybody have any final thoughts they'd like to leave us with?
That banh mi was delicious. Boy.
You guys are always wearing cool. You and Justin are always wearing cool shirts. I need to get on the cool shirt train.
Get on the cool shirt train.
There should be a segment. What are you guys wearing tonight? So I know I see Snoopy and
Mine's just
Garfield.
plain.
Inside there are two wolves. What is yours from?
Goodfellow from Target.
Same. What are you wearing, Justin? What is that from? That devil man.
This is oh my god,
It's
and
like samurai thing.
I feel so bad for forgetting. She
almost looks like a
she did the graffiti art with Anta at the Homeworld Populist show. She designed this.
Janet.
Nice.
Janet.
Janet
Yeah.
designed this.
Damn it, Janet.
Damn it, Janet. That's right. I'm so
That's her
sorry.
name?
I forgot.
That's
yeah.
her name?
That's
kinda cool.
That's what she goes by. But she designed this shirt, and I bought this at one of her shows that she was at. So yeah. Actually,
Nice.
I think it was Homeworld Populous I bought it at. So
Really quick before we officially end, a quick correction. Our fan shout out, Healing Laughter Power, is actually a he. So I just wanted to throw that out there. He corrected me on Instagram, but he was cool with it, and he still likes all our stuff. So yeah, Healing Laughter Power, apologize. But there you go. Be more like Healing Laughter Power, guys. Like all of our stuff, because we like that. All right.